By the late 1980s, Washington's policy changed. Dictators like Pinochet were seen as an unnecessary embarrassment. A new and innovative way of controlling nations was launched.
Good morning and welcome. It's good to have you all here to help celebrate the launching of a program with a vision and a noble purpose. The National Endowment for Democracy is, just as we've been told, more than bipartisan. The establishment of the National Endowment goes right to the heart of America's faith in democratic ideals and institutions. It offers hope to people everywhere.
Like any new brand, it had a snappy name: democracy. It was largely fake, an illusion of marketing and spin. This brand of democracy meant that whoever you voted for, the policies would be broadly the same, and your country's economy would be in step with the United States. Washington would be your closest friend, or else. In the 1990s, these democracies in name replaced dictatorships in Latin America, with Chile providing the model. This is the commercial center of Santiago, Chile. On the surface today, everything seems normal, modern, prosperous. To the Bush administration, Chile is the very model of economic success. A laboratory experiment, according to the magazine Business Week. Much of life has been privatized. There are now billionaires, and the rich are getting richer.
Pinochet fixed the country.
Who says? The United States says.
No. The World Bank says, the Inter-American Bank says, everybody says it. He brought about an economic miracle in Chile. And I'm saying he had the brains for it, but he had the brains to hire all these people, Chileans, who had studied at the University of Chicago, who knew something about real economics.
Real economics were advocated by Milton Friedman, an extreme right-wing economist at the University of Chicago. Friedman was invited to perform his laboratory experiment on the economic life of Chile. The families of the tortured and disappeared were silent witnesses. Without irony, he called his experiment shock treatment.
Please be seated. Well, thank you all very much. It's an honor for me to be here to pay tribute to a hero of freedom, Milton Friedman. He has used a brilliant mind to advance a moral vision. We have seen Milton Friedman's ideas at work in Chile, where a group of economists called the Chicago Boys brought inflation under control and laid the groundwork for economic success.
This is the other side of the economic miracle. Chile today is a deeply unequal society. This shanty town is just minutes from Santiago's smart hotels.
Hay tantos cesantes, hay miles de cesantes, los jóvenes, y el que trabaja no alcanza para nada. ¿Y con qué paga la luz? ¿Con qué paga el agua? Hay que comprar el gas, todas las cosas que hay que comprar. Diariamente la mamá dice, ¿qué hago para la comida de los niños? ¿De dónde saco dinero?
We found this couple living and freezing in the shanty town. They're homeless and have a week-old baby.
Si usted puede describir un poco cómo es vivir en estas condiciones.
Para empezar, el frío en la noche.
Difícil.
El frío en la noche es súper difícil. Por mi guagua tuvimos que prender la cocina.
¿Cuánta gente en Chile vive de esta manera?
En realidad,
yo creo que mucha gente.
Y en peores condiciones que nosotros. Pero hay gente que simplemente no recibe ayuda porque no nomás, porque no hay ayuda.
¿A dónde se van a ir entonces?
A la calle. Vamos a dormir en la calle otra vez. Pues,
ya hemos dormido en la calle.
En el extranjero, en Europa y en Estados Unidos y en otros lugares se dice que Chile tiene una reputación como un país rico, acomodado.
Sí.
¿Qué es lo que ustedes dicen a eso?
Sí, yo creo
eso
que
puede
sí.
ser, es verdad, pero para la gente que...
Pero eso para la gente que tiene, no para nosotros.
Chile is a democracy now, in theory. A complicated voting system splits the vote and discourages real reform. It's a product of General Pinochet, based on a constitution that's also a product of Pinochet. The general may be dead, but the power of the military remains. It's all very modern, the media is safe, and many believe it's wise to be silent, like the graves of their forgotten compatriots. It's Washington's ideal democracy.
La dictadura tuvo un gran éxito en Chile desde el punto de vista de que estableció un modelo político, económico y social que todavía permanece hasta el día de hoy, porque en esencia no se ha cambiado la Constitución que impuso la dictadura en 1980.
No, nosotros no postulamos democracia porque esa palabra está tan manoseada que no se entiende. Aquí hay una persecución contra los pobres, y no es en Chile, en toda América Latina está pasando eso. Yo creo que la gente que estudia sabe que ese punto de seguir así va a reventar en alguna cosa eso. Yo pienso que el pueblo va a despertar y va a decir, basta, ¿hasta cuándo?
This is Bolivia, another laboratory experiment. The majority of the population of this spectacular, brutalized country, high in the Andes, have also been invisible until recently. The indigenous people, the Aymara and Quechua, carry memories of a culture and civilization and wealth long before the Spanish arrived 500 years ago. They remember how a single hill of silver underwrote the entire Spanish Empire, while they became the poorest. This is the National Congress of Bolivia. Until recently, the faces here were almost all white, the descendants of a tiny Spanish elite which plundered the nation's riches and reduced the indigenous majority to serfdom. It was a pattern of control repeated all over Latin America. The pattern has been broken in Bolivia with the rise of social justice movements of a kind never seen before, and whose democratic home is not Westminster or Washington or any other so-called model, but in the streets, the mines, the barrios, the fields. Governments that defy this popular power, this true democracy, do so at their own peril. This is El Alto, the highest city on earth, and perhaps the poorest. The occupants of this cemetery on the roof of the world are mainly children. Protected, they say, by the sacred mountain Illimani, El Alto overlooks Bolivia's capital, La Paz. Juan Delfin, a priest and a taxi driver, has lived here for most of his life.
Esta es una zona Villa Ingenio, cementerio general de Villa Ingenio, de la zona norte, de la ciudad del Alto. Y aquí hay una triste amargura Hay de todo tipo que están nuestros hermanos, nuestros niños, nuestras hijas, nuestros abuelos y abuelas muertos que están simplemente enterrados. Vemos lo que está, ¿no? Hay incluso una familia, se envenenó toda la familia por falta de trabajo, por falta de economía. Primero el esposo